How's it going? This is Ty with Fiction and Copy Decoded with another copy thought for today. I'd like to talk about, I don't know where this, it was originally from The Wolf of Wall Street, I guess, but I thought it was from some other movie or some other technique way before that. That is the technique of sell me this pen, the pen, the pen riddle, the pen question, and so on. A lot of people have a lot of different thoughts about it, and we'd want to go over those things just for fun, just for fun's sake. A lot of people would say that it's antiquated, which, I mean, as far as pens go, they might be antiquated. I mean, I use them. I use pens to do something. Well, to a certain extent, that's what's interesting about pens, is that pens can only do one thing, and that's write. But if you don't have a need for it, there's really no need for pens. If you do almost all your work on a computer keyboard, there we go, or do digital signatures to sign things and authorize stuff, you don't really need a pen. So it's like, okay, sell me this pen. It's like, okay, well, what do you use a pen for? What do people use a pen for? I mean, obviously people know what other people use a pen for. Now the interesting part is, okay, what do you use a pen for? Because if somebody telling you to sell them a pen doesn't use pens, it doesn't really matter. Because it's like, okay, what do you use a pen for? As far as in the Wolf of Wall Street movie, based on what I had read on it, the secondary character takes the pen from the guy asking this question and tells him to write his name, which you can't do without a pen. I think it was in the Muse.com they had talked about it, about the idea, about the temptation to think of this only in terms of features, not in terms of a benefit. Because this pen has all kinds of like features. Okay, we could say, oh, the pen cap comes off and back on, or you don't have to refill it because it's not a fountain pen. The only other downside of that, of course, being a detriment, is that once this pen runs out, you have to pitch it and get a new pen. Which, I mean, they sell them in 10 packs for not a lot of money nowadays, so that's not really an issue, but it can be something you might be asked to spin as such I'm not necessarily saying an interview or as a thought exercise, maybe you would be. But we have to also get to, okay, what does the subject use a pen for? Whoever is asking you this question, what do they use a pen for? Are they really old school and sign checks with it? That can be something you would be able to pull on. It's like, without this, your responsibilities aren't being able to be fulfilled because you won't be able to get paid, won't be able to pay your employees and so on with no pen. But then, like I said, it's more of a thought experiment than anything else, because if the subject doesn't use pens, it doesn't really matter. So it's one of those things that serves as a thought experiment between the triangle, basically, of product benefits, product features, and the intersection with the market, that I think the exercise is really trying to get at, whether you can think of it in terms of market first. It's like, oh, okay, sell me this pen, sell me a pen, okay, versus sell me on the idea of pens versus sell me this particular pen. I think that was used in the context of that to throw people off a little bit. Sell me this particular pen. It's like, okay, well, if you already have it, I don't really need to sell it to you, do I? If you hand it to me, and then it's like, okay, we have to figure out what you, Mr. Interviewer, Mr. Questioner, use the pen for. Which is where it's going to start out, which is why I think the character in here who talked about that wanted to get people to think about, as is mentioned. So that was pretty much it about selling pens. Not that we really do that, although I know there are some expensive fountain pens that come in little cases and so on, with refillable cartridges, some of them out there, that cost a pretty a lot of money, so people do still use pens. You know, it's not as if people don't, it's just less and less. But as far as a thought experiment with pens and sales, I think that's what the movie itself was trying to get at, as well as the Muse.com was trying to get at as well, with their take on it and their thoughts on that.